Through the first part of the year, the Los Angeles Lakers were near the top of the Western Conference with one of the best records in the league, even though LeBron missed the first chunk of games and Luka Dončić had already sat out a few nights. They've beaten good teams, strung together winning streaks, and for the first time in a long time, they look like they can survive stretches without their aging superstar. And here's the wild part. If you just look at the numbers, this does not look like some unstoppable super team. They're hovering around the middle of the pack in offensive rating, middle of the pack in defensive rating, near the bottom of the league in three-point percentage, and at or near the bottom in total threes made per game. So how are they winning this much, this early, with this many obvious flaws? The answer is simple. This is not the same Los Angeles Lakers you've gotten used to over the last few years. Luka Dončić has taken over as the franchise superstar. Austin Reaves has made a real all-star level leap. The new pieces like DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Jake LaRavia have completely changed the team's identity on both ends of the floor. And LeBron James has stepped into a different role than we've ever seen from him in purple and gold. In this video, we're breaking down exactly why the LA Lakers look different, how this roster was built, and just how far this version of the team can really go. Luka Dončić has turned the Lakers into his team.
Finally the bump. Dončić hits foul call. He's got 14 in the first quarter.
On a nightly basis, he's putting up mid-30s in points while flirting with a triple-double, adding around 9 assists and 9 rebounds on the type of efficiency that usually belongs to MVP seasons. What really separates this version of the Lakers is how Luka controls every possession. In pick and roll, defenses are stuck choosing between giving up a lob, a pull-up jumper, or a wide-open kickout. Step up and he throws it over the top. Sit back and he walks into his own shot. Send help and he finds shooters or cutters in stride. Inside the arc, he's on another level. He's hitting over 61% of his two-pointers and finishing more than 83% of his looks at the rim, which is insane for a high-usage perimeter creator. On drives, he's converting around 64.9%, while ranking near the top of the league in points scored off those attacks, constantly turning straight-line drives into layups, free throws, or clean looks for teammates. The wild part is the jumper still isn't all the way there. Luka is sitting at roughly 33% from deep on about 11 attempts per game, below what you'd expect given how tough many of those shots are. If that even creeps up toward his better shooting stretches, his offensive profile becomes almost impossible to scheme against. Dominant at the rim, deadly in the mid-range, and fully respectable from three. We've already seen what that peak can look like with performances like the in-season tournament game against the Clippers, where he dropped 43 points, 13 assists, and 9 boards. But for all of that offensive brilliance, there are still real questions about Luka's effort and consistency on the defensive end. Can he bring close to the same intensity on defense that he shows when he has the ball in his hands, especially over a long regular season and then deep into the playoffs? Will he stay locked in off the ball, or does he just stand around and force his teammates to cover for him when the minutes and usage pile up? Those questions matter because this roster is talented enough that if Luka can even be an average defender while carrying this kind of offensive load, the Lakers' ceiling jumps from a 5th seed to legit contenders.
Here's LeBron. Took him a long time to get the double digits the other night. Austin!
Contributing to that offense is Austin Reaves. Reaves might be the biggest reason this version of the Lakers doesn't feel like Luka and a bunch of role guys. He's putting up real star production, high 20s in points, plus strong rebounding and playmaking numbers, all on efficiency that actually holds up under big usage. What makes Reaves so valuable is how adjustable his game is. When he shares the floor with Luka and LeBron, he can space the court, attack closeouts, and run secondary pick and rolls without killing the flow. But when one or both of them sit, he has no problem stepping into a primary creator role. You saw that in the stretch where both Luka and LeBron were out. Across 3 games, Reaves basically turned into a number 1 option, dropping around 40 a night with double-digit assists, including a 50-plus explosion and a game where he paired high 20 scoring with 16 dimes and a game winner. That wasn't just a hot streak, it proved he can handle being at the top of the scouting report. His connection with Luka is a big reason the offense works even when the team's three-point numbers don't. With those two together, the Lakers post elite offensive and strong defensive ratings, which is exactly what you want from your main perimeter duo. Reaves gives Luka someone who can both relieve pressure and punish defenses for overloading his side. And this is the culmination of a steady climb from undrafted rookie to double-digit scorer to a guy living around 28 points per game with across-the-board growth in assists, boards, and free throws. The real question now isn't whether Austin Reaves is legit in the regular season. It's whether he can keep playing at this level when the playoffs hit and every team is scheming specifically to slow him down. However, if Luka and Reaves are the head of the offense, the real difference this year is the body around them. The new core of DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Jake LaRavia.
Stolen by Ayton, puts a dribble out in front, galloping in there.
Let's start with Ayton. He's giving the Lakers exactly what they've been missing for years, a true two-way center who can live above the rim and protect it on the other end. He's averaging 14 points, around 8 boards, almost 3 offensive rebounds, and doing it on close to 70% shooting from the field, with multiple 20 and 10 nights already. As a roller, he's the perfect partner for Luka's pick-and-roll game and a clean target for LeBron's driving kick or lob passes. Marcus Smart brings a completely different kind of impact. The box score doesn't pop, but the moment he checks in, the defensive tone changes. He guards up and down the lineup, generates nearly 2 steals per game, and blows up actions before they even start, which has turned him into the vocal leader on that end for long stretches without LeBron. The offense stays roughly the same when he's out there. The defense jumps towards elite. Then there's Jake LaRavia, who might be the sneakiest pickup of the bunch. He's playing starter-level minutes, hovering around 10 points, 4 rebounds, a couple of assists, and more than a steal per game on efficient shooting with a solid 3-ball.
LaRavia playing with confidence, falling away, puts it.
He runs the floor hard, defends physically, makes quick reads, and is already flashed upside with big scoring nights, dropping 26 against the Grizzlies this January. Together, Ayton, Smart, and LaRavia give the Lakers something they haven't had in a while. Role players who actually complement their stars on both ends, instead of just standing in the corners and hoping LeBron bails them out.
Here comes LeBron.
Speaking of LeBron, for the first time in his career, he isn't the gravitational center of everything, and that might be the best thing that's happened to him in years. He missed the opening stretch of the season with a nerve issue in his back, and instead of collapsing, the team went 10-4 without him, which sent a clear message. This group finally knows how to function without leaning on LeBron to save them every night. When he came back, the big question was whether he'd disrupt what they'd already built or make it even scarier. So far, he's looked a lot like the second option. In his first games back, he slid into the flow as more of a connector and playmaker, posting double-digit assists in limited minutes, then ramping up his scoring once he got his legs under him, including a 36-point outing against the Clippers, making his season high in points. Many will say the main difference is in how he's getting his impact now. Instead of dominating every possession, LeBron is getting to pick his spots, running secondary actions, attacking mismatches, pushing in transition, and leveraging the attention Luka and Reaves draw to find shooters and cutters. The ball moves faster, the offense feels more multi-threaded, and there's less of that everything dies if LeBron sits energy that defined the past few years. But there's still a big unknown here. Can LeBron fully embrace this version of himself when the playoffs start? More wild card than primary engine, more problem solver than system. If he can stay healthy and lean into that role, the Lakers don't just have an all-time great. They have the most overqualified third option in the league. And that's where this team's ceiling really starts to get scary. The crazy thing about this Lakers team is that, even with all the star power and new weapons, the numbers still say there's a lot of room to grow. Offensively, they're not blowing teams away on paper. They sit around the middle of the league in offensive rating, and a huge part of that is one glaring weakness: outside shooting. They're near the bottom of the NBA in three-point percentage and in the bottom group in threes made per game, with their three main volume shooters, Luka, Reaves, and LeBron, hovering well below what you'd expect from them from deep. On top of that, the turnovers are ugly. They give the ball away more than most playoff teams, ranking toward the bottom of the league in turnover rate, and giving opponents easy runouts and extra possessions. Put all that together, and you get a profile that looks a lot less like a juggernaut and a lot more like an unfinished product. And yet, the results are undeniable. They're near the top of the West in wins, they've proven they can survive injuries, and they hold one of the best records in the entire NBA, despite where they don't look like themselves. The upside is obvious. If their shooters simply regress to the mean, if Luka and Reaves climb closer to their career norms from three, if Smart hits just respectable, and if one more shooter is added at the deadline, this offense jumps from average to potentially elite. Defensively, continued reps with Smart, Ayton, LaRavia, and a healthier LeBron could push them from solid to top tier. So the big questions hanging over this team are simple but massive. Will the shooting stabilize? Can the front office find one more high-level shooter or defender? And can Luka, Reaves, and LeBron maintain this level of play all the way into May and June? If those answers are yes, then this version of the LA Lakers isn't just different. They're a legitimate threat to run through the West. Drop your take in the comments. Hit like if you think the Lakers will run the West, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our next uploads.